Hello again, I'm back, and here we go for our second part on this topic. We'll talk a little bit in this topic here, in this video, about work-family conflict and different support that organizations can provide to help with work-family conflict. Here's interesting: Warr's environmental determinants of well-being. That is, those things, if they're present, that is, the more of the, on the left side, the more of the things on this left column are present, the more well-being you will experience. Okay, and so clearly things like opportunity for personal control, we've seen that many times. However, it's actually a pretty good opportunity to point this out, and it's inevitable. All courses in psychology um, are ultimately, they say, oh, this is developmental psychology or something. And you're like, no, this is developmental psychology the way American people think about developmental psychology. Because you go to another part of the world, it's a completely different story. I mean, everything is different. And even IO psychology, in fact, very much so, IO psychology is radically different in other parts of the world. And so clearly take a look at this. Opportunity for personal control is number one on the list of Warr's environmental determinants of well-being. Go to Asia, and that's gibberish, okay? And it's number one on the list, and you leave the United States, and it would make 0 sense, okay? That's just not how it works. So anyway, in America, environmental determinants of well-being, including opportunity for skill use, right? Variety of tasks. Didn't we just talk about that? Workers want challenges. They want to be able to use their skills and abilities. They do not want to feel that they're being underutilized. Okay? A valued social position. Yeah, there's something to that. I'll tell you. Being a faculty member doesn't pay me a lot of money, but I'll tell you what, there is absolutely something to it as a valued social position. Externally generated goals. Yeah, okay. Physical security. Got it. So these are the things. The more of these things that are present, the more well-being we will have. However, you can have too much of a good thing. Too many demands, too many challenges, too much responsibility, and you've crossed a line, okay? So it's good, but too much can get you. Okay, work-family conflict. Well, obviously what happens is sometimes the demands of work and the demands of family are incompatible. And so work-family conflict is almost inevitably going to occur. We find work-family conflict is associated with less job satisfaction and less life satisfaction. Okay, and it's probably bidirectional. That is to say, low life satisfaction leads to work-family conflict, and work-family conflict leads to low life satisfaction. So there is something there. Work-family enrichment, yeah, carry over from one. There's more dual earner households than ever before. So 78% of women. So the traditional family has changed quite radically since the 60s, obviously. And so we find that checking out these different things, 78% of women with kids between 6 and 17 are employed outside the house, okay? Working moms. 78% of employees indicated their number one priority was to balance work and family. 22% think they can't have a good family life and get ahead in their company. Okay, and as a by the way, as a byproduct of that, more and more people are putting off having children until a later and later point in life. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so the general conceptual model of work-family interface, this is interesting. We see work-family conflict in the center, or work-family enrichment in more positive ways. And we find, look, what comes into it, okay? The personal, in other words, the home environmental factors, the work factors. And then what happens is we get personal coping resources, organizational coping resources. And we'll talk about it as we move down to the bottom of work-family conflict, things that organizations can do to help us, okay? And this is what creates or what determines the work-family conflict. And as you can see, the work-family conflict has outcomes at both home and work. Okay, so it is a two-sided thing. Okay, so here's our Dilbert again for the day. Alice, it has come to my attention that you are spending time with your family at night. That's time that could be used productively to do work for no extra pay. Do you have a family? That would explain the people in my house. I like it. So the boss isn't asking her to do anything he doesn't do himself. I like it. Okay, so there you go. As I already said, work-family conflict affects job satisfaction, life satisfaction, performance, anxiety, etc. The relationship between work-family conflict and career satisfaction holds stronger for women than for men. Men are what we might call more flexible, more tolerant rather, of work-family conflict. And I'm sure it has to do with, traditional roles that mothers and fathers are expected to play. I would expect that if men have to skip family functions due to work, they don't feel as stressed out about it because it is more traditionally accepted. Hey, you. Okay. What can the organization do to help with work-family conflict? Well, we can talk about family supportive supervisor behaviors. There's a lot of letters. FISB. It's a measure that basically it incrementally adds above and beyond general social support measures in predicting outcomes related to job satisfaction, etc. So even if you take into account the social support you already have, the family supportive social supervisor behaviors that you receive from work predict more. Okay, so a family supportive supervisor is one who values and appreciates an employee's desire to be both work and family. Supervisors can be trained, perceive, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, lower turnover. That's a big deal right there. Okay. In a fairly recent study on work-family conflict and organizational support, organizations that were flexible and supportive of the work-family dual requirements, okay, were positively related to employee engagement, job satisfactions, intentions to stay. There was less spillover, better mental health. So organizations that do in fact pay attention to this stuff have positive outcomes in many, many ways. And we've already seen job satisfaction is related to performance. So I mean, clearly these outcomes have other outcomes to them. Emerging trends between '05 and 12 have basically found that employers are providing more and more flexible options for work-family conflict, like flexible scheduling, flexible start times, telecommuting, and things like this. But they have been cutting those things that cost a lot of money, okay? Like childcare benefits, things of that nature. So in some ways, companies seems to be becoming more sensitive to work-family conflict, but willing to put less money into it. What's the irony of that, eh? Yeah. Okay. So what are some of the family-friendly benefits, work-life supports? And we can talk about parental leave, family leave, childcare benefits, elder care assistance, and flexible scheduling. And so we find that the most popular benefit among employees is flexible scheduling. And as I said, the companies are responding because flexible scheduling literally doesn't cost anything to the company, right? You're going to give me the same amount of work and I ain't going to pay you any more. You're just going to, So what an interesting idea. So we find that companies now are starting to provide some maybe non-traditional benefits as well. Perhaps we've all heard of, Google's campus, or what we're finding is some of these major tech firms are providing on-site services. Look at some of these things. On-site physicians, dry cleaning, postal services. All right. Because we all know going to the post office is just like a major hassle. But if you can do it while you're I'm out the door, I'm walking out the door at work or something. take-home meals, preferred banking, yeah, banking right on site, fitness centers, health screening. I think though these are wonderful benefits, sometimes I think the companies have a selfish motive in that they can keep you there. If we put in good cafeterias, you'll stay, you'll stay, you'll stay. And so it's basically a whole lot of things to reduce the daily stressors. In fact, Amazon, I just heard they put together a on-site store so that, in fact, the way they have it is freaky that I can't even remember the details, but when you just pick up a product, your cell phone knows what you've picked up, and you put it in your basket, and it automatically, you don't even see a cashier. You just walk in, pick up some items, put them in a bag, walk out, and you're done. All right, and it just automatically charges and calculates everything. So anyway, interesting idea. Um, there, yeah, this is the one I just mentioned that 22 and 2012 cutbacks, the costly ones. Yeah, I jumped ahead on that one. Um, Remember the Family Medical Leave Act. Employees can take a leave of up to 12 weeks because of family-related issues. Um, it is used, it really is. But remember, as we said the one other lecture, it's expensive because it's unpaid leave. Okay, European countries are oh so much better than us on this stuff. Belgium has a career break program. In fact, by the way, this is interesting. They have the same thing in a lot of major universities. The tenure system is, a system for promotion and stuff. And usually what it is new faculty members have a 5-year window. And after 5 years, they're evaluated whether or not they're going to be given tenure. And it's a really big deal in the life of professors. And so what happens is many universities have a very similar to what Belgium has here, a career break. In other words, you can put the tenure track on hold for up to 2 years in cases of illness or birth of a child or something of this nature. So there are elements in America that are taking advantage of this. However, Belgium's and many European programs do come at a cost, and that cost is higher taxes. Okay? Higher taxes are in fact paid for these benefits. In fact, that is one of the backlashes right here, since I'm saying it. Take a look very much at the bottom. The child-free network. Why should childless people fund this stuff? All right, and so it's like that's the same argument against Obamacare, by the way. But why should people without family leave issues have to pay for those people that do have family leave issues? All right, and it's not an uncommon argument. But on-site childcare is important. It's a very good recruitment tool, that's for sure, and it's very valuable for retention because we know for a fact. I mean, I teach 9 o'clock classes, and I know that those mothers that are dropping off their children, I know that childcare just won't take the kid. Just they won't open the door until 8 o'clock or something. Oh my goodness. Even the public school systems, they just won't take your kids until a certain hour. Oh, it was horrible, horrible. So we find clearly that these childcare benefits do lead to retention and recruitment. But again, there's that backlash going on. How many employees are leaving because they feel that they're unfairly having to fund this? But of course, if you talk to enough childless people, you'll also hear them complaining about having to fund the public school system through their taxes. Elder care assistance. Yeah, 22 million households, probably a larger number. I think this is an older stat. Provide care for the elderly, and a typical caregiver, a 46-year-old employed woman who is spending 18 hours a week caring for their mother. Wow, that's something. And so we've got these sandwich generations. We're probably out of the baby boomer sandwich generation, but we're into the Gen X sandwich generation. Okay, the Gen X has got the baby boomer parents that are starting to need care, and yet the Gen Xers like myself tend to still have the children at home as well. So you're getting hit on both sides here. The number of people between 65, over 65 is going to double. Yeah, there's a huge, huge problem with this. Um, Actually, as an interesting side note, totally unrelated to IO, well, it's all related, is there was some discussions about how we were going to deal with elder care because there just won't be enough people to fill the positions to take care of the older people. And so there was this conversation. Well, look, I mean, we could use immigration as a wonderful solution to this problem of elder care. You know, we could have immigrants coming in and giving them visas and then taking occupations in the assistance industry and stuff. And they did a little survey of American people, and they said, no, no, no. American people would rather be taken care of by robots than immigrants. Oh my God, how much hatred does people have? I have such hatred of immigrants that I refuse to be cared for by an immigrant and instead would rather be cared for by a cold, heartless robot. Oh my goodness, that's just nuts. So 75% of employers offer some elder assistance, but that's kind of a bullshit number because what that means is, oh, they provide you literature or they have like elder care spending accounts. It's and I mean it's offered by the organization, but here's the fact: it's a U.S. government thing where it allows you to contribute pre-tax dollars into an account. So at each and every paycheck, you might be able to put $500 into it with no taxes on that $500, as long as you use that $500 to take care of elders. And so oh, they offer this program. It's just not offering a program. You're just giving what the government gave. Whatever. Dual earner couples. Obviously, this is related to work-family conflict. Couples in which both are, of course, employed, right? 45% of the labor force in 1998. I didn't catch a new number, but I'm willing to bet the number is quite a bit higher. Um, Work has become home, home has become work. Look at this, I'm never off the clock, right? Always on. And so, who knows? You can't go on vacation without being. And so, career satisfaction, child care arrangements, lack of job, da, 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 da. Oh, look at this underneath our head. Crossover effects in the transmission of stress from one person to the other. Okay, so it definitely can cross over. And so we can look at two different types of dual career couples. We can talk about a conventional dual career marriage, and these are probably going by the wayside now that the baby boomer generation is sort of becoming less common. Conventional dual career marriages are probably on the outs, but the female maintains primary responsibility for the home and children while adding a career. Well, I suspect, I mean, what do I know? I only have the experience of my dual career marriage, but both spouses are active in career and at home. And so nowadays, when women get married, they actually do expect that they're going to be in a role sharing dual career marriage. And this is just the effect of societal change. All right. So I will come back and talk to you on the third section in, I don't know, a little while. See you then.